What's up, people of the internet? It's Chris Gonzalez here, back once again for another episode of Single Issue Saturdays, where I recap and give my thoughts on some of the issues that I either picked up this past Wednesday on New Comic Wednesdays, or some of the digital issues that I read. And my apologies, I'm going to be actually uploading this on Sunday since I had to record this video a little bit later than usual, so it's still gonna be an episode of Single Issue Saturdays, but just on a Sunday. So let's go ahead and get into it, and we'll start with the first digital issue that I read this week. So we got Detective Comics issue number 1104, written by Tom Taylor, the artwork and colors by Mikhail Janin. And yeah, I've been really enjoying Tom Taylor's run. It's just a really good Batman stories. And this episode, or not episode, this issue in particular had great pacing throughout the issue. And it's immediately after the previous issue, where Batman, he has been infected by this virus that dulls all the fear inhibitors in his mind. So basically he'll become reckless and be a danger for those around him. So he's got like a couple hours left until he has to be in quarantine, and so he's just racing against time, and the clock is ticking for the Dark Knight in this. And in this story, again, he's trying to find how Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, he's trying to find him to assist him in developing a cure for this virus, and he finds out that Scarecrow has ties with the villain of this arc, the Lion. And I really enjoyed this issue. Artwork by Mikhail Janin, and his color is just perfection. I love when he's on the title, and it just elevates Tom Taylor's writing. It elevates it, and it's already a good story. So I've been captivated throughout, and I also enjoyed the supporting cast involvement coming off of last issue, where Batman, he had to go to Metropolis and seek out Lois Lane's help. Clark Kent once again shows back up, and him and Bruce have a really heart-to-heart conversation in the Batcave in this one sequence, where Bruce tells Clark, like, hey, if I'm too far gone and if I'm a danger to others, you gotta essentially put me down. And Clark promises him that, and Bruce provides Clark with a thumb drive with what he'll need, that Bruce, if he does succumb to the virus, he won't be able to counter. So he gives this to Clark, and then they find out where the Lion is holding Scarecrow in this cornfield. And there was also a really touching moment with Damian as well. Bruce is working on this armor that's going to contain the virus. So they have a decent, a really heartfelt conversation as well. And then, yeah, Bruce goes off to try to find Scarecrow, and they go to this cornfield, and it's a setup. The Lion sets them up, and the Lion and his henchmen start attacking Bruce while he's in the Batmobile, and it's a really cool action sequence in the field. And then the Lion thinks that Bruce is alone, but no, Bruce has backup, and he brings in the Bat family of Nightwing, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, and Damian. So they all assist in the fight, and they find Scarecrow, and Scarecrow reveals a little bit of backstory for the Lion. In spoilers, the Lion used to be an apprentice under Scarecrow and he wanted to develop a cure for fear, essentially. And then Scarecrow reveals that, which might, it's not a surprise to anybody, that Batman also has ties with the Lion and why the Lion is doing what he's doing. So that's where the issue ends. Just another solid issue of Detective Comics, and I'm excited for the next one. And let's go ahead and get into first physical issue I want to discuss, and that is Green Lantern issue 30. Jeremy Adams again writing, and Carmine Giandomenico is the artist. Colorist is Romulo Fajardo Jr. and Dave Sharp is the letterer. Amy Wu does this cover, and again, I've been really enjoying Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern run. It's just been consistently solid. I don't think there's been a bad issue, to be honest, out of the 30 issues. So it's just been a really fun read, and it's a fun ride. And this issue was more lighthearted than others, considering that Hal Jordan is going to Gotham to seek out advice from the brooding hero in Batman. So I really enjoyed how lighthearted it was, and I enjoyed the banter between Hal and Bruce. Their banter again worked for me. The humor between the two worked for me, and it also, there was another heartfelt moment where, Batman, he's, reading out Hal's issues, and he tells Hal, like, yeah, even though you might think I don't care about you, I actually do care about you. And we have similar backstories where our parents died, and we're helping the world so that others don't have to deal with what we went through as when we were kids. So I thought that was a really cool conversation. Again, the artwork is really great. A lot of cool action sequences. Really enjoyed it. I'm still missing Zermonico on the artwork, but he will be coming back, so I can't wait for that. But again, just really fun, and I liked how in this issue they kind of called back to Jorge Jimenez and Matt Fraction's run with the tech, so I really thought that was cool. And in this issue, they essentially, some metahuman, a young metahuman who's just developing their powers. He's very frightened of Gotham, and he's creating these constructs from his mind that are, causing havoc in the city. So Hal and Batman have to stop him, and since Batman's approach doesn't work, since he's tries to instill fear in his enemies, Hal takes a different approach, and he shows the kid how, another side of Gotham that is not that, dreary and frightening all the time. So it was just a really fun issue. It's not the best issue of the run, but it was just really fun nonetheless. And I did feel that the young metahuman's part was a little weak, but I feel like it was essential for Hal's development as he works through his fears that he's dealing with regarding the ominous visions that he's been getting from the Book of Oa when it zapped his head. So I'm interested on how that plays out. And yeah, it ends on an intriguing cliffhanger involving another fan favorites character that Hal's known to team up with. So can't wait for that. So let's go ahead now and get into the lone Marvel title that I'm going to be going over this week, and that's Amazing Spider-Man issue 18, written by Joe Kelly. John Romita Jr. is back on artwork. Scott Hanna, I think, is doing the inking. He's doing the inking. Marcio Menez is the colorist, and Joe Caramagna is the letterer. So I'm just say I think this is my least favorite issue of Joe Kelly's run so far. I just felt like the story and all the plot lines were really disjointed. The pacing was just off, and yeah, it's just I'm kind of over the two Spider-Man stories. At least the Earthbound stuff. Like initially I thought the Earthbound stories with Norman being Spider-Man was more intriguing, but then the last Spacebound issue that Pepe Larraz was on, I think the last issue 17, I felt like there was revelations that were made regarding, Hellgate's backstory that I found intriguing, and, actual plot, moving forward. I felt that was doing a lot there, but in this, it's just like, I feel like we're in a stagnant place, and there were some cool things that I liked about it. There's this scene where, spoilers, Norman reveals to J. Jonah Jameson that he has been parading as Spider-Man, and they have a conversation about Peter and how they can't imagine how Peter had to deal with juggling being Peter Parker while being Spider-Man, while maintaining all his relationships and his jobs. And Norman discusses how he's dealing with just being Spider-Man in Peter's absence. So I thought that part was cool. And I also found that, let me show you some of the artwork. I did, so this is pretty cool, having this conversation. But John Romita's artwork, like this, I did not like. John Romita, again, legend. I'll never discredit what he's done for the comic industry, but this latest stuff is just so hit and miss. I just didn't, in this issue, did not like it. Like, I don't know, just not feeling it. So, and there's this subplot that there's this hunter, they're hunting for goblins, and I don't really care. I just feel like it wasn't built up well for me to care. And this part dealing with, I am finding Peter's childhood friend Brian Nearing, who got him the job at Rand Industries. I'm finding his subplot intriguing, but this part where he's having a discussion with his boss, and his boss is just like nonchalant and wanting Peter to be there, even though this guy he handles all the biology aspects of the project they're working on, and she like totally just disregards him, even though he's been working out the company for years and Peter just got there. So I'm not sure how I feel about her character, the Dr. OM, and she was just really irrational, and again, I'm not sure if that's intentional or just, bad writing on Joe Kelly's part, but she's going through her own subplot of her son, and we haven't even seen the sons yet, so and then this other spider heroes show up with this guy, Kintsugi is his name. Yeah, Kintsugi, and we still don't know who this kid is, why he's doing what he's doing, and it's been issues like since the Hellgate first arrived, and we still have no idea why he's there. But yeah, just his interaction with the other spider heroes, with Miles, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Boy, Aranya, it just felt out of place. And yeah, it's just like there's too much going on, and I just feel like all the plot lines weren't complementing each other really well. So again, and that goes to the pacing. It wasn't that great. It just felt all over the place. And yeah, I'm just, and it ends with, a reveal that all the goblins and the goblin related people like Ned Leeds and other people, they're all being hunted for what reason, I don't know. So I'm just not interested. This was definitely, It's a weak issue. Weak. And let's go ahead now and get into the DCKO tie-ins, the Fight Month issues. And well, first let's go over The Flash, issue number 28, and it's co-written by Mark Waid and Christopher Cantwell. Vasco Georgiev is the artist. So he did the penciling and inking, and Matt Herms is on colors, and Buddy Beaudoin is the letterist, and Dan Mora did the cover. So it starts up. The issue starts with catching the audience up to speed, and that was a pun intended, with Wally and Impulse, as you know, it deals with the aftermath of what happened in the last issue. So Impulse, he tried to go back in time to defeat Darkseid before all this KO stuff happens, and it doesn't work. He gets his butt kicked, and Wally ends up chasing after him, and he gets his butt kicked too. So now the Legion of Darkseid, they're after Wally and Bart, and the Legion, they've done something in the future where it causes Bart to lose his powers. So now, again, the Legion's chasing Wally and Bart, and Wally has to hold Bart as he's unconscious in his arms. And Wally, initially he goes back in time to, fix whatever, but they get attacked by the Legion and corrupted Max Mercury. So they go back to where Barry Allen first gets his powers. And they're trying to stop the Legion from preventing that from happening. And then there's this weird transition that goes into the fight between Jay Garrick and Guy Gardner that I just felt that was not really done well. It just felt random. Like, I felt like the actual fight should have just been its own one shot, but yeah, did not like that transition. But the fight was really cool. To be honest, one of the better fights, even though the normal Flash story really didn't work for me. The actual fight between Guy Gardner and Jay Garrick was really cool. I felt like the Guy Gardner's characteristics were written really well, and he's an a-hole to the T, and I felt like the writers really nailed Guy Gardner. And I liked how Jay Garrick, he's pretty much, his morality is similar to Superman's. He understands he has to participate in this tournament, but he doesn't want to lose his soul in the process. So I enjoyed that. And the initial round with him and Guy playing checkers was pretty funny, and it just showed that Guy was an idiot and he couldn't even finish the game. So I appreciated that, and I really enjoyed all the costume changes and how it called back to previous stories with Guy. Like, I really liked the design he had when he was a Red Lantern. So the artwork was great in this issue, and the lettering, I liked how as Guy was transitioning into being a Red Lantern, it went from green, like his monologue boxes were like green and then were a gradient into red. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I enjoyed the callback that was made from his time as Warrior, when he was Warrior in the 90s. I thought that was cool. And yeah, so again, I really enjoyed the artwork, but the final rounds kind of ended on a whimper. And yeah, I think this Flash 28 was the weakest out of the Fight Month. Well, actually, it definitely was the weakest issue. But it was still, the actual fight itself, really cool. Dug the art, but just the Flash ongoing story just wasn't really written well to complement the fight. Like, it just felt like the fight should have been its own one shot. So now let's move on to Superman, issue number 33. This is written by Joshua Williamson. The art is by Hayden Sherman, and I'll be mentioning him later in a little bit. And Alejandro Sanchez is the colorist, and Ariana Mayer is the letterer. And Hayden Sherman, man, between what he's done in Dark Patterns and absolute Wonder Woman. He's just been having a killer year, and his panel layouts are just really innovative and creative. It's taking the medium of comic books to the next level, and it's really captivating storytelling with just how the panels are composited onto the page. So I really appreciated that. And in this issue, it further dives deep into Lex's psyche and his motivations for competing in the tournament, which I really appreciated. I'm intrigued about how, about Superboy Prime's involvement, and we did get some solicitations, and he will be the primary Superman later on after the DC KO event. So I'm intrigued on how he's gonna get further integrated into the story, and I want to know what his motivations are. And yeah, the fight between Lex and Etrigan was just really fun. Again, along with Hayden Sherman's illustrations, the colors by Alejandro Sanchez just perfectly complemented the illustrations. And yeah, just the fight between Lex and Etrigan in Hell was just really badass. Like, again, spoilers, at the end, Lex essentially takes Etrigan's powers and he becomes the demon, and that's just how he wins. And I just thought that was really cool. And in this issue, Joshua Williamson handled the balance between the tournament fight and the series main storyline way better than they did in the Flash. So that's how you do it right, and how you continue your ongoing story while shoehorning in this event fight. So it was done really well. So shout out to Joshua Williamson on that. Another great issue of Superman. He's been killing it in this run, so definitely recommend Superman. In the last DCKO tie-in issue that I read was the Joker versus the Red Hood, and this was also written by Joshua Williamson along with Scott Snyder, and it was penciled by Dustin Nguyen of Descender fame, and frequent collaborator with Jeff Lemire, and also penciled by Giuseppe Camuncoli. Mark Morales did the inking, and John Callies was the colorist, and Steve Wands was the letterer. And if you know the history between these two characters, death in the family, then you immediately feel the tension as the issue starts, and you're just waiting like, okay, shit's gonna go down. These characters are gonna beat the shit out of each other because all the history they have with one another. But even though you can take that as a positive for the issue, you can also kind of use that as a hindrance, because personally, I'm tired of having Jason Todd just be defined by this one story. I mean, it's so integral to his character and his character development, but I just feel like DC keeps just going back to that well over and over again because they don't know what to do with Jason Todd and his Red Hood character. And I'm kind of sick of it. But I did, even though with that all said, I really did still enjoy this issue. So it was cool seeing Dustin Nguyen, his artwork, and being inked by somebody else, and just it was a different style compared to his traditional watercolor aesthetic. So I really appreciated that. And yeah, just the fights were the fights were badass. They were awesome. And there's a particular panel where Jason Todd, he grabs like a machete knife, or just, it's not like a sword, but it's a shorter knife, and he just stomps it in the back of Joker's throat and just goes through his mouth. I thought that was so cool. And yeah, and it just, the fight scenes again were just really brutal, and the artwork after round one was just, I think that was Giuseppe Camuncoli. He did the artwork on this particular page, but correct me if I'm wrong, but just the artwork where Joker, he gets mutated into this really foul looking creature, and then Jason, he falls into the vat of chemicals at Ace Chemical Plant, and his body gets disintegrated. I just thought those visuals were just really brutal. and twisted, and it's just fitting for this dark story. And the final round was just, again, tense. You can feel the intensity because you know all the back against. For me, I know what happened, but it was just really compelling because as they're in this graveyard and, you know, Jason's just beating the hell out of the Joker, and while Jason's pummeling him, Joker's just like stabbing Jason to death. But Jason is so laser focused and adrenaline filled that it doesn't matter. He just keeps on beating the shit out of Joker to an inch of his. He's beating Joker to death, and they fall into this grave. And Jason, he takes because Joker, he took the form of his original Red Hood from Killing Joke. Jason takes that Red Hood helmet and just beats the hell out of the Joker with it until he dies. And then, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's something that happens which leads to Joker winning, but it really doesn't matter because the ending, it was written as, it was giving Jason that closure that he needed, that he's his own hero. He doesn't need Batman. He's not going to let the Joker and what happened in Death in the Family define him. So hopefully, I know the Red Hood series got canceled, but hopefully a creative team takes Jason's story into a different path and like just does something creative with his character. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. But okay, and the last issue that I'm going to discuss, and it's the last physical, it is Absolute Wonder Woman issue 15, and this is written by Kelly Thompson. Hayden Sherman is the artist, and Jordi Belair is the colorist, and Becca Carey's the letterer. And yeah, I think this is my pick of the week because it's the first time. It's not the first crossover between the Absolute characters, but it's the first crossover between the heroes of the Absolute universe, and that's, you know, the first meeting of Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. And I just gotta say, Hayden Sherman is again back, and he's the MVP of this issue. His artwork and just his panel layouts were insane. Again, he's like one of the best to ever do it. Look at this. Just along with the colors by Jordi Belair, it's just perfection. Look at the layout. Just look at how his layouts, I mean, they're incredible. Really creative, and it's so cool. And just look, just the composition of this page, like the layouts are like shaped for the Batman logo as Batman enters the story. So that was just really cool. And yeah, again, the composition just really great, and I love I loved Hayden's depiction of Absolute Batman. It's completely his own while still like implementing Dragota's design. I just loved it, and it just still capture Dragota's vision. And in this story, there's been murders that are happening in Gotham, and one that involves some of Wonder Woman's magical ties, and she goes to investigate and seeks out the help from Batman. And yeah, they investigate, and it's just, again, the artwork, man, just really cool. And there's more humor in this issue than I anticipated. Like some of the banter between Diana and Bruce was really funny. And I just thought Kelly Thompson's writing was really, really done well. So shout out to her. And I'm not going to spoil it, but they mention Absolute's Superman. Let's just look at some of this artwork. Really good artwork. So yeah, they mention Absolute Superman, and when they do, look at this. When they mention it, just look at this artwork. Just beautiful, beautiful artwork. The colors by Belair, just perfect for what the story they're trying to tell with this. And I like how they're finally starting to bring the universe together. Again, they mention Absolute Batman or Superman, and this is what happens. See, like panel layouts. It's the Superman crest when they mention Superman. So yeah, I just really solid issue, and in the story, them coming together makes sense. It doesn't feel forced. So I like how Kelly Thompson, her script was just really tight. And again, Hayden Sherman, let's just look at some of this artwork. Really cool fight scenes. So, and it's a perfect standalone story. So if you haven't been reading Absolute Wonder Woman, you can jump right in. And if you only been reading Absolute Batman, so if you haven't been reading Absolute Wonder Woman and just been reading Absolute Batman, you can just pick this up and not be lost. There's some mentions of the Joker in here, and yeah, it's just another really great issue of Absolute Wonder Woman number 15. So this is my pick of the week. This has been my favorite read this week, so I definitely recommend. And yeah, that was it. So thank you for those who are watching my videos. Again, apologies for this being uploaded later than usual. I will be back next Saturday for the next one. And yeah, just let me know if any of these books are on your pull list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also let me know what other books are on your pull list that I should be looking out for. So again, thank you so much. Like, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already.